Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone and welcome to today's ePayroll webinar. My name is Caitlin. I'm going to be running this webinar for you today. If you have any questions, please pop them in the questions box and we'll get through to any questions at the end of the webinar. So today we're going to be covering a few things in the webinar. We're going to be going through a few of the benefits of ePayroll. We'll also talk about the key features of ePayroll, including employee data, employee self-service, web-based leave management, and how to run a payroll. We'll also go through how you can create your own ePayroll account if you haven't already. So just a little bit about ePayroll. We were Australia's first online payroll software, established back in 2004, and we do have over 25 years of payroll experience. We process 2.3 billion wages per year, and we are part of the Ready Tech group, ready for the future of work. So what are some of the benefits of ePayroll? It's simple to use, and we are designed for the non-payroll specialists. We're available anywhere, anytime, and you can access your payroll data whenever you need it from any location. And you can also process your payrolls remotely or off-site. Employees also have access to their own payroll and leave management information whenever they need it. ePayroll is cost effective. We do have several packages and add-ons to suit your specific needs, and there's no need to manage your own payroll software maintenance or deal with service maintenance problems. ePayroll is a software that simplifies your business. We save you time by simplifying your payroll process with automating employee payments, superannuation, PAYG, or payroll tax. We also provide employees with pay slips online and with a web-based leave management. We also integrate with most accounting packages, including Xero, Accounts IQ, MYOB, NetSuite, and J-Curve, and we are secure and reliable. So we got secure SSL with 256-bit encryption, and we are ISO certified. All of the data as well stays in Australia in a Tier 1 data center. So now we're going to take a quick look at ePayroll. So what I'm going to show you first is what an administrator will see when they sign into their account. So this is the home page. It's just got some general information on the home page. It will have a bit of an overview of what's happening in the business. It will also have an employer message on the home page, which is something you can configure so that all employees can see if you need to get any messages out to them. And if you're an employee of the company as well, you'll see your leave accruals and recent pay slips on this home page as well. So firstly, we're going to look at how we can add new employees to the system. So if we go to the Employees tab and click New Employee, it'll bring up the page you'll need to enter all the information in for each new employee. So the first section here is just where you'll add their general information, their name, home address, email address, everything like that. The few key points in this section here is the start date. So this is the start date that they started with your company, not the start date that you're entering them into ePayroll. It's really important to get that start date correct because that is what will calculate the long service leave and make sure that's correct in the system. The other really important field here is the state employed field. So this state employed field will let the system know for the payroll tax purposes, and it will generate a report accordingly. Going down, we've got the in case of emergency details. So this is where you can put the employees' details in here. This is really handy because if you did have the in case of emergency details on file somewhere in your company, they might be a bit hard to find if there ever is an emergency. So knowing that they're in the system and you can access that anywhere, anytime, if there ever is an emergency, it's really handy. There's also some other information that you can put in for the employees. So you can configure a number of points here. Some examples are if you've got a security pass for your building, you can put a security pass number in. You can put notes or a preferred name. We can also configure other things here as well if you like. Next, we've got the web roles. So this is where you're given an employee a certain amount of access to the system. So the three main web roles you're going to be giving employees here is the employee self-service user web role, the expense user web role, and the leave user. So the employee self-service user web role will basically allow the employee to log into the system and to view their pay slips, payment summaries, and any other information that they need to view online. And the expense user and leave user will allow them to apply for leave and expense. All of the other web roles here are for more of an authority access to the system. At this point, it won't actually let you assign any of these web roles to the employees. This is just for more security purposes, so you don't accidentally give an employee more access than they're allowed to have for a payroll. But if you do need to give the employee that access, you can do that through the administration tab after you've added them. Going down, we've got the payment details section. So this is where you'll decide their salary and standard hours and everything like that. So you choose what payment group that the employee belongs to, and accordingly how that's configured, you'll either enter a salary or an hourly rate. You're not going to be able to enter both. The system will automatically calculate the hourly rate or salary. So that will be dependent on the standard hours. So if we change the standard hours to 80, the system will automatically calculate what that hourly rate is based on the salary there. Next, we've got the pay code section. So this is where you'll give employees access to pay codes if you're going to be paying them things such as annual leave, personal leave, or even bonuses or commission. We do suggest to just tick all of the pay codes here that you have set up on the company. This is so that if you ever do need to make one of these payments to the employees, so you don't need to go in later, but you can do that however you like. There's also the option to add a default value for any of these pay codes. So for example, if the employee has a car allowance every week, you can put the car allowance in here and the system will automatically populate that amount into the open payroll every week. So you won't need to manually enter that each week. Next, we've got the primary super fund. So this will have a list of all the super funds that you've added to your account. With A Payroll, we do only have compliant super funds available, so you can ensure that the employee is part of a compliant super fund. There's also the option for us to pay the super for you if that's something you're interested in. Next, we've got the initial accruals. So with most of our clients, they do come over from other payroll systems where the employees have already accrued certain amounts of leave. This is where you can put that leave start hours in so they can start accruing from what they've already been entitled to. So if they've got 40 hours of annual leave on the other system, you'll pop that in here. Then when you run your first payroll, the leave will accrue on top of that 40 hours and they will be getting the exact accruals that they're entitled to. Next, we've got the taxation details. So this is where you'll enter all the information that they give to you from the tax file declaration form. We do send off the information to the ATO every 14 days, so you won't need to manually be sending that information to the ATO yourself. Also with the tax file number, we do check for validity. So with STP being introduced as well, it is more important than ever to have a valid tax file number. So the system will flag that if you do have an invalid tax file number to let you know to go back to your employee. There's also the option to add a tax variation for the employee if they've got an agreement with the ATO or with the company yourself. You can add that in here as well. Next, we've got the payment methods. This is where you'll enter the employee's bank account details. Just like the tax file number, the bank BSP is also checked for validity, so you can ensure that you're paying to a correct bank account. There is options to add up to 2 bank accounts here, so if the employee wants to split their payout. We do find that only having the 2 bank account methods here does suit about 95% of our clients. If you need to add a 3rd or 4th bank account for an employee, you can do that after you've added them into the system, but most of the time it's not needed. Lastly, on the employees page, we've got the cost centers. So this is where you'll define what cost centers or departments that they are working in. You can split up an employee's pay into different cost centers. You'll just choose which cost center and put their default hours in here. So the default hours that you enter into this this section are the default hours that will generate into your open payroll. So it's really important to get that correct so that each week you don't have to manually put in or manually edit the working hours for that fortnight. Okay, so that's how we add an employee to the system. What I'm going to do now is jump in and look at what an employee views once they've been added into the system and how they can apply for leave. So I'm logged in as an employee now. So this is what an employee will see as their homepage. So it's a bit similar to the administrators, but they don't have any access to the information that they won't be able to see. So they'll be able to see that employer message that you've configured to get across any important notes, and they'll be able to see any breaks and pay slips or leave requests that they've applied for as well. So if they go to their My Account home, they'll be able to see a bit more of an overview of everything that's been put into the system for them. They won't necessarily be able to change any of this information, but it's really handy that they're able to see what information has been put in. So they'll be able to see their tax file details, their in case of emergency details, and any payment methods that they have in the system as well. So if they go to their personal details page, they are able to change a few information like their email address or home address, but as you can see, there's some grayed out fields that they won't be able to change. They'll also be able to add their own in case of emergency details and any notes that they want to add about themselves so people can get to know them a bit better. They'll also be able to see what type of web roles they have on the system. So this is really handy so the employee knows exactly what they can and can't do on their ePayroll account. They won't be able to give themselves more access or authority on the account, but just letting them see what they can and can't do is really useful. So next they've got the payment methods tab. So this is where they can add or edit any payment details that are on their account. We can configure this so that they are only able to view their bank account details and not change anything. So if you prefer them to come to you to change any of these details, we can turn that function off as well. So next we've got the current payslip and payslip history tab. So the current payslip will bring up the most recent payslip. If we go to the payslip history, it'll bring up any payslips that they've had while on the ePayroll account, and they can choose which financial year they want to view. But to go into the payslip, they just click on the weekly employees button and it'll bring up their payslip. So it's got all the information in regards to their employment at the top, and then it will have the information from that pay period. It will also have their year-to-date details and leave entitlements. So with the leave entitlements, we can configure this to show things such as personal leave, RDOs, and it can also be configured that long service leave only shows after a certain amount of years. We can also take that off as well if you don't want employees to be able to view that. So employees can download their payslips from here as well. So they can email a copy to themselves, they can save a copy to their desktop, or they can print a copy so they have their own records for it. So the payment summary tab is very similar. It'll bring up their payment summaries that have been generated on ePayroll. They'll be able to choose which financial year they want to view. And just like the payslip, they can email a copy, save a copy, or print a copy. So next we've got the accruals history tab. So this is where they'll be able to see what their leave accruals are doing, when they're taking leave, or if they want to make sure it's accruing correctly. So just like the payslip, we can configure this to show personal leave and RDOs as well. It's up to you what you want your employees to be able to view. Lastly, we've got the documents tab. So this is where you'll be able to add documents that the employee can view. If you need to get across any information or update any inductions or anything like that, you can add the documents in here for the employee to read. So now we're going to look at the leave and expense and how an employee applies for leave. So this is the leave and expense homepage where they'll be able to apply for leave. If they, for example, want to check that they have a certain amount of leave at a certain date, they can use this projected leave tool. So if they want to take off leave over the Christmas break, they can go to Christmas and see exactly how much leave they'll have accrued at that date. So this takes into account any leave applications that are in the system that have already been approved so that they get a more accurate result as well. So if they're happy with that, they think they have enough leave, they can apply for leave here and it will take them to the leave form request. So there's a few things they can do here. They can see exactly who their leave approver is and who the leave is going to be going to. They'll be able to choose what type of leave they want to apply for. So if it's personal leave, annual leave, if they're entitled to long service leave, that will be an option here as well. And then they choose their start date and end date of leave. So if I choose some dates here, the system's going to automatically calculate how many working days and how many hours are in that period. So the system automatically knows that there's 4 working days in that period. The system will also pick up if there's any public holidays or weekends that fall within those dates as well. And then it will apply the hours automatically. So if, for example, the employee takes only a half day on one of those days, they can also manually edit the hours applied if need be. They'll also be able to add any attachments or comments to the leave request. And there's also a message configured across the top here that you as the employer can configure. So most of our clients put something in there about needing doctor certificates or any other documentation when they take leave, just to remind the employees that they need to submit that along with their leave application. So if the employee is happy with that, they can click Submit Leave Form. Once they click Submit Leave Form, the leave approver and the employee will both receive an email automatically to let them know that the leave has been submitted for approval. So jumping back in now as the administrator, so we can have a look at how the leave's approved. If we go to the Leave and Expense homepage, we'll be able to see here any leave applications that have been sent to us for approval, and we'll be able to see the status here as well, whether it's already been accepted or if it's still waiting to be accepted. So as you can see here, we've got the leave request that we've just submitted, and there's an approve button, so it's waiting to be approved. If we want to make sure that there's going to be enough employees covering the business over that period, we can use this tool called the leave roster. So this will show you who's on leave during specific dates and what type of leave they're on as well. So we'll be able to run this report here. And as you can see, for these dates here, it shows exactly what leave is currently in the system. If you hover over the leave, it gives you a bit more information about that leave request, whether it's accepted or still processing, and the exact dates as well. So if they're happy with that, they can see there's no other employees on leave. They can go back to the leave page and approve the leave. If they want to see the leave request in a bit more detail, they can click Edit, and they'll be able to make some changes to that leave request as well if they need. So they'll be able to change things such as the type of leave. So if they've accidentally applied for the wrong type of leave, they'll be able to change the start dates or the hours applied, and they'll be able to attach their own comments as well. There's also this tool for the redirect. So if they need another manager or leave approver to approve the leave as well, they can come here and choose somebody to redirect the leave to, and then they'll have the final say on whether the leave is approved or declined. So if they're happy with that leave approval here, there's a few options they can do. So they can approve the leave, they can put the leave on hold, or they can decline or cancel the leave application as well. So there's a few more options once they go into the leave application. But if they're happy, they can click Approve Leave. Once the leave's approved, the employee will automatically receive an email to let them know that the leave has been approved and that it's waiting for payment. So up to this point here, with the leave process, there hasn't been much need for the payroll person. It's been more between an employee and a manager perspective. So as the payroll person, to pay that leave out to the employee, they'll need to go to this leave payment screen. So the leave payment screen will bring up any leave applications that are outstanding and that need to be paid, and you'll be able to pay those out. So you'll be able to choose your open payrolls here, and it will bring up any leave applications for those payrolls if you have more than one. So there's a few things you can do here. So you can either manually put in the amount of hours that you want to pay out in this payroll. So we can pay out the whole leave or half of the leave. Or you can also choose this autofill pay hours button. So if we click autofill pay hours, the system will automatically pick up what leave applications are getting paid out in this payroll and what are being paid out in a future payroll or a future date. Once the payroll person's happy with the leave that's getting paid out, we can click submit to payroll, and the leave applications will automatically be pushed through to the open payroll screen. It'll bring up an event listing here and let you know if there's any errors or anything that has occurred, so you can view that and make sure everything's gone through successfully. So once you've done that, we can go to our open payroll screen and start prepping the payroll to be finalized. So there's a few things on this page. You'll be able to see the dates of the payroll. You'll be able to choose which payroll you want to run if you do have more than one. And you'll be able to see the import sheet where you can enter all the employee hours and data here. So this leave, the leave applications that get pushed through to the payroll will show up like this. They'll show up grayed out and you won't be able to edit any of those details. If you need to, you can tick the box and delete pay form, which will delete that line off your open payroll and won't pay that out. You can also make any manual changes to any of the ordinary hours or anything like that. So if this employee actually worked a few hours less this week, you can make those changes, or you can enter any bonuses or commissions or anything like that on this page as well. So if we scroll across, we can enter any other pay codes that are set up. There's also sub-columns at the end that we can add to your account. So we've got a tax override column if you manually calculate your own tax and don't want to go with the automatic calculation that the system will calculate for you. And there's also an alternative rate column where you can put a different pay rate than what's currently in the system for that employee. If you do make any changes to the payroll screen, it's important that you click Save Changes so that when you process the payroll, it picks up any changes you make. If you're happy with everything that's on step 1 here, we can go to step 2. So step 2 of the payroll process basically runs your payroll in a kind of sandbox environment. It will give you all the information and an overview of the payroll, and it will generate 3 different reports for you to view. So the first report is the event listing. So this will bring up any warnings or errors that the payroll has picked up in your in the payroll. So with warnings, they'll just like there's some here. It's just flagging some information that you might want to action before you process the payroll. For example, the tax file number for these employees hasn't been lodged. So it's just picking that up for you in case you don't want to go ahead and you want to edit that before you run the payroll. If there were any errors that were picked up, you would then need to go back and fix those errors before you could process the payroll. The next report we have is the exceptional report. So this will bring up any changes that have been from the previous payroll to this payroll. So it'll pick up things like gross pay changes, if there's a difference. It will also bring up any changes in cost center details, any changes in bank account details, and things like that. So that will all show on this report. So you can make sure that everything's correct there. The last report we've got is the transaction report. So this will break down the payments that are getting paid to each employee, so you can see exactly what's getting calculated. It will show you the super calculations and the tax calculations as well, so you can make sure that's all calculating correctly, and you'll be able to go through each employee. On the very last page of this report, it will also give you a company total, so you can see exactly what the overall payroll is going to be. So if you do have an idea of how much the payroll is going to cost for this week and it's way under or way over, you can check that overall there. And if you need to make any changes, you can go back to step 1 and update anything you need. If you're happy with all of the information on those reports, we can go to step 3 and run the payroll. So if we click Run Payroll, it will generate a few more reports at this step. You'll also still be able to roll back the payroll here. So if you do find any mistakes or anything that you do need to change, you can roll back the payroll to step 1 and make any changes that you need. The reports, there's 2 different reports, types of reports that will generate here. So we've got the payroll files reports that will generate each payroll you run, and you have your month-end file reports that will generate when it's the last payroll for the month. So a few of the reports that some of our clients say are really useful from these reports are the entitlement report. So this will give you an overview of the employees' leave accruals, and it will also give a notional dollar value to each of the employees' leave accruals as well. The payslips report will give you a PDF file of all the employees' payslips, so that comes in handy. And there's also a transaction report, which is similar to the transaction report at step 2 that you'll be able to view there. Some of the month-end reports that are pretty useful as well is the fulfillment liability report. So this will give you some information regarding the super payments for each employee. Another really useful one is the month-end payroll summary. So you can view exactly the amounts of tax and super and everything like that that's been paid. So if we're happy with those reports, you don't need to roll back and you want to go ahead and finalize the payroll, we can click on step 4. So at step 4, we, depending on how you pay your employees, you'll either create the bank file or mark the payroll as paid. So to create the bank file and finalize the payroll, we click on the Create Bank File button. Once the payroll's been paid, a few things will happen at this step. If you are integrated with an accounting software, it will automatically bring up the information for you to submit to your accounting package, and it will automatically be sent over to that. It will also automatically populate your next open payroll, so you don't need to manually be creating your payrolls each week. The system will automatically do that. You'll also be able to download your reports here, and if you are paying by a bank file, this is where you can download that bank file as well. That's pretty much it for the payroll process. It is a quite straightforward process. It is 4 easy steps, and even with going through in detail each step, it took us maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So if you do have a pretty straightforward payroll, it should only take 5 minutes or so. Okay, so that's all for the system perspective. I'm going to jump over back to our presentation. Is the microphone working for you now, Christina? Okay, so now that we've had a look at ePayroll, we're going to just go through why you should choose ePayroll. So ePayroll saves you valuable time. As you just saw, we can process the payroll in just 4 easy steps. It's got an intuitive user interface And ePayroll is available anywhere, anytime, and we also offer on-demand reports that you are able to generate 24/7. Employees can access their own payroll and leave information online, and you can conveniently keep all employee data in a single system using custom fields and notes. You can also automatically integrate with your general ledger software, and we offer world-class training available face-to-face and via online webinars. We also have an online help centre for 24/7 access to support. So you can stay compliant with ePayroll. We are cost effective. It's just a simple monthly payment and there's no term contracts. And we also have packages available to suit your needs. It does cost less than comparable payroll software. We also maintain your payroll and tax compliance with automatic interface with tax office and super funds. We also do data checks that validate your information in the ePayroll account. ePayroll is secure and reliable, and we do offer quality support with 98.5% of our client inquiries responded to within 4 hours. We're also one of the few payroll systems to fully support STP, with that coming up as well for employees under 20. So this is our pricing packages. So we offer a simple pricing package. For just a payroll package, it is $5 per employee per month, and this includes some of our key features, including our mobile app, employee self-service, superannuation payments, employee onboarding, GL integration, and much more. If you would like, we also offer some optional add-ons. So you can add on our time and attendance feature for just an extra $1 per employee per month. We also offer time and attendance and award interpretation. So if your company has an award that you'd like to automatically be integrated into your account, that's also an option there. And we also offer assisted payroll. So this is where we can assist you in your payroll. You submit your payroll to us and we look over it and make sure that everything is compliant before we finalize that. So if you do have any questions about that, please get in touch with us and we'd be more than happy to help answer any questions you have. So if you haven't already, you can start your free 30-day trial. Just head to our website. There's a simple monthly payment with your first 30 days free, and you can cancel at any time within those first 30 days. After your free trial is finished, you can still cancel at any time. We just need a 30-day notice. So if you have any questions, please contact us. Our phone number is 1-800-372-976, or you can contact us via email at support@epayroll.com.au. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation today. I'll send you this, if you can hear me now, I will send you this this demo to your email that I was emailing with you earlier. And then if you have any questions, please get in contact with us.